Let me just check.
Charlie, that's correct. Ben is about to enter the rear of one park as we speak, and you could increase my numbers to probably over 200. I think they picked a couple people up on the way.
Yes, no, that's correct. Right now, 50 jet there.
Charlie 2 and equal to. I think, that's good shit.
All right.
Okay,
Let's head over. And,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
we were trying to.
folks of all gender and nationality. I'm James Jackson. You've seen me before today, hopefully. If not, welcome to the broadcast. I have access back to the police scanner here in Philadelphia, which is great. If I could take a moment just to talk about the necessity of access for the police scanner. It's really important for regular citizens to be able to hear the police scanner. We can not only figure out what's going on more easily without overloading police resources, but we can also avoid dangerous situations and it helps us to be situationally aware. So, contrary to what the folks that run the particular feed that I was tuned into think, they were not actually helping the police by cutting the feed. There was a lot of question last night about what all the loud bangs going on all over the city were. There is some very loud bangs. They were clearly not gunshots. They were clearly not fireworks. And what it turned out that they were was people breaking into ATMs using actual dynamite. Not very safe. A couple of people got injured. Don't recommend it as a tactic, but it is what it is. Had that information been available, though, I might have gotten a little bit more sleep than I did end up getting last night. With me, I have Emma, and Emma, I'm going to pin you on the second screen here. If I can figure out how to do that. Oh, I probably have to join from my phone as well. Hold on one second.
Take your time.
I'll get you over there. But Emma was in attendance at one of the protests yesterday. If you would just start, you can go ahead and start telling your story a little bit, and I will get you on screen in a moment. I'm also going to switch to a live broadcast of the helicopter. There is currently a kneel-in going on over at the Arts Bank building, which is about 2 blocks from me, so I might walk over there if I have the ability to control this from my phone. But go ahead and start telling your story. I'm sorry.
It is all good. So I went to the protest accompanied with a few of my friends, and we've been going out all weekend, and it felt very powerful. The magnitude, just the amount of people, it was louder, it was more direct, it felt amazing. And we just walked through Center City, and we're heading towards the Art Museum again. And when we got near the expressway, forgive me if I can't remember exactly where the little inlet was, but I remember that there were bike cops and maybe 1 or 2 cars that let people through. And there was one section of fence, like tall metal fence that was down. So we were able to, take the expressway. And at this point, I was separated from my friends. Stayed calm. I'm in a a crowd of people that I pretty much trust. And we kept going. The cars were honking in support. It's not like a normal day on the expressway, of course. And we kept going. We had people cheering us on, from above and around. And that probably went on for a good few minutes. And then I didn't hear anything, but I saw the front of the crowd start to run back. And of course, people respond with stay calm, don't run, go to the sides. We weren't sure what was going on. And then I think, 1 minute, 2 minutes later, we could see that the gas was coming in. Since then, I've learned that it was a mixture of smoke and tear gas, so affecting our vision and our breathing. I am very, very grateful that I was wearing an N95 mask, because I think it really, really helped me be able to maintain kind of steady breathing. I looked out for everyone I could. A lot of people were exclaiming that they couldn't see. So, a good group of us were helping people over the middle barrier. And then there was the huge hill. I couldn't really tell the crowd that was on the hill, but I knew it was huge. There was, just smoke and gas all around us. Someone next to me was exclaiming that they couldn't see, so I had them just hold on to me, and we got up. And we're almost at the top, and it's so many people, and it's this huge fence, and it felt nearly impossible, but the camaraderie was incredible. We lifted the people in front of us up as much as we could, and the people who had already gotten over the fence stuck their hands through the metal fence and lifted feet up that way. It was amazing, and people would fall onto them, they would catch them, and we would keep going. I was one of the last people up the hill where I was. There was a SWAT dude right behind me. The last time I looked back, there was, I could see that people were getting detained, and I was at the top. The SWAT guy, had his baton, was wrapping the fence, to get people's hands away. But I made it over, and I was caught when I fell down, and made it out. Absolutely terrifying, absolutely stunning.
I just wanted to interrupt momentarily. I'm sorry. We are joined live by Catherine. I will pin you on the second screen. And if you can go ahead and continue telling your story, Emma, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everyone who is still out there right now. Yes, there was, a whole group of people that made sure people were getting over that huge, 10-foot fence, and we would run up to each other. I had some water in my water bottle, and we just kind of went back and forth, pouring water in people's eyes. And so it kind of dispersed. It came back together some minutes later, and I ended up finding a friend. And we all kneeled, and the cops did leave, which was very strange. I think it was right before or right after the curfew. you know, happened right after 6 p.m. Yeah, we were looking at the people who had been detained. I tried to see if any of my friends were in there because I didn't know where they were. I couldn't tell; they were too far away. But I do know that they kept them uncomfortable during that whole process. I have a friend who got detained, got out very quickly after she was brought to the precinct, but it was so ridiculous and unnecessary. Cruel. It was cruel.
Luckily, well, perhaps not luckily, but with hope, I say that it doesn't seem to have deterred anyone from protesting today.
Not at all.
We're looking live, and I believe, Emma, you can see both of these if you're in.
I can.
So we're looking live at helicopter and on-street coverage from Catherine at a protest march that is going, it looks to be northbound on Broad Street.
Okay.
And I'm just going to bring in the scanner a little bit so that we can hear that.
What's the location of the protest at North on Wall Street?
South. Charlie 2 to Isaac 18.
So that's audio from Catherine there, and then we also have the scanner in. At
Can you move that your group on the 15th Street, 15th and JFK? 15th and JFK received en route. Yeah, you 15th.
So they're currently walking
Street
up
to update between March and JFK.
What's known colloquially as Theater Row. They're by the Suzanne Roberts Theater. They're walking north towards City Hall. It is a rather large group. Catherine, I'm going to show some video from overhead of you if you want to look as well.
23.
And it's probably about 3,000 people. Yes, there is a curfew tonight.
Can I get a call 4?
Sorry, my cats are
Commissioner, can I give you a call?
getting mad at each other.
Yes.
Hey guys, sorry, it's really hard to hear you out here.
No worries.
So I hope I'm not interrupting.
No, you are.
You guys know we've been marching all over the city, and every time we march today, we are bringing more and more people into this march. It's getting bigger and bigger, and it was started by two gentlemen who met each other yesterday, dealing with the problems that we dealt with yesterday, getting tear gassed by the police while protesting peacefully. And they wanted to organize something beautiful today, and they did so far. We're marching to City Hall to just show that there is strength in numbers and that we are nothing but peaceful. So tell everybody to join us. Tell them to turn out. There's like 8 helicopters in the air. And if they're saying anything negative, I'm on this street right now. Everybody is peaceful. Everybody is calm. Everybody has spoken beautiful words. And it is a wonderful day for revolution.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for that
Anytime,
coverage,
guys.
and we really appreciate your continued coverage. Stay with us as long as you can. We'll keep your video up, and we'll also be showing video from helicopter and speaking here. So, and I'm going to keep the scanner on low in the background in case anything troubling comes on over the scanner, so that I can hopefully let you know. It's a little difficult to manage all that, but yeah, thank you for being out there. Emma, thank you for joining us as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely. Back here besides the group here abroad, do we have any other groups out there that we need to check on?
We're
Other than abroad, do we have any other groups anywhere else?
So I wanted to talk about your experience.
I just thought we have a small group at 50. Okay. What was the count on the group on Broad Street?
Sorry.
Probably about 400.
So Broad Street's going to be a little unacceptable. 400.
So I wanted to talk about your experience from the perspective of what the public is saying and what Mayor Kenny and Commissioner Outlaw said this morning.
Yes.
I got a little heated, so I reached out to a lot of people really quick. We did get some positive movement today. I don't know if you've heard that Brian Abernathy, the head of I forget what his official title is, but basically he's the guy that makes things happen at City Hall. Okay. And he, after reviewing the video with the mayor that some folks contributed and that some of the city council members also brought to his attention, pulled all the officers involved in that incident off duty, and there is an investigation ongoing. There's no confirmation how many officers he pulled off duty. There's also no confirmation as to which officers involved were pulled off duty. But I have to say, listening to the scanner in the minutes coming up to this broadcast, there are state police units and other units standing by behind the art museum and other places, and they're being requested by the PPD to not join them at this time. There's a part of the old unit that used to control crowds working today, and they're specifically requesting the units from state police not come in.
Wow.
So it's been an interesting afternoon. Where were you about in the crowd when did you go up the embankment to get out, or
yes?
Yeah. So
yes.
You were about midway down back in the crowd, maybe 20 or 30 people behind. There's some shots available. Great, thank you. Thank you, Catherine. So, sorry. There's another Catherine that I'm talking to.
All good.
There's several Catherines in my life, apparently. So, there's a photo on the coverage from... I wanted to pull this up here. There's coverage from both KYW, or excuse me, WHYY and Billy Penn that shows a photo of the protesters and the state police vehicle, and shows quite clearly the situational nearness of the protesters versus the state police vehicle. I just wanted to pull that up. There's a Vimeo video that shows it quite clearly as well. But did you have any eyes on that end of the protest where those folks were kneeling in front of the state police vehicle?
I did not see anybody kneeling from where I was. It may have been further down, like through the tunnel and in, the other area, the other stretch of expressway. But I also wasn't looking at that. Once I got everybody over the middle barrier from where I was, I just started getting people up and couldn't really look back. I am aware. One of my friends that I ended up, meeting back with, he was one of the people, not in that video that I think a lot of people are sharing, but he was somebody that was kneeling and was maced along with the gas.
That is the one that actually is the one I shared with Councilman Green, and he said that he brought to the attention of Brian Abernathy.
Good.
So when I spoke with Councilman Green, and I do recommend that everybody listening, everybody paying attention, speak to your representatives as often as possible. Most of the city council members know me by name, and that's because I talk to them. It's important to talk to your elected representatives. You don't necessarily have to agree with them. You need to talk to them and express what you think is right. So I was talking to Councilman Green, and I did say that I, as a black man, do not feel safe in this city, especially after the events of last night. And I also expressed that the video of the Philly police officer spraying people directly in the face with mace is very similar to the video that happened during a college sit-in a couple of years ago. It looks like they're turning people up Delancey instead of allowing them to go directly towards City Hall. Interesting. But the officer in that long ago viral video spraying people directly in the face with a large can of pepper spray was released from his job, and I believe did jail time for that act of violence. I communicated that to the councilman. I think it's important that we communicate these kinds of things so that our council members know that that's what we're concerned with. Emma, what would you say is as somebody who was protesting, what would you say is the primary message that you were trying to communicate?
With yesterday?
Yes.
I would say, I wish I'd prepared something powerful, but truly, there is so much solidarity, trust, and love between the people that are out here protesting. We have power in this huge group. If as developments happen with, defunding police and changing the way our society is broken down, we will be able to manage that.
Let them run because you're still on Broad. Or 13.
That's how I feel.
Well, that's. I think that's a very valuable message to pass along.
Levi, I got an ERT. Got to be dispatched. I just need a location where they need them.
Okay. Sorry, I'm also managing a little bit here. I'm just gonna bring up the police scanner a little bit to see if we can find out why they're turning people down Delancey.
Frankie RT1. Frankie RT1. Can you drop me a check for an arrest 151 South Road? Reckon you get this line going.
On the southwest corner. Southwest corner of City Hall.
Good boy. Center City Power Van 2.
Car 4, I'm giving you a grid. It's front to Indiana, Huntington. Car 4, I'm gonna call you. 910.
Receive, thank you.
Town 25 to Town 31.
Mike ERT1.
Next. Can we let Stephanie go down Route Boulevard to Chestnut?
So it looks like they're turning right on 15th there.
Okay.
Anybody, can we allow step the northbound on Broad to Chestnut?
Tom 7, I think that's a negative. I think they're still at Broad and Chestnut. You have to find out where the rear is.
Somebody let me know where the rear is.
84, we just crossed Chestnut. And Broad still headed west. West on Chestnut.
Why do people make me ban them from my YouTube?
Tell you 104. Yeah, I 24. No, I got a large group from 15th and JFK walking down. We go join that other group.
Have you got a large group from 15th to JFK to join the other group? Large group from 15th to JFK to join the other group. If Mike ERT1, be advised, I can't log you on. I need a call sign so I can drop your numbers.
The Center City Power Van 2.
Center City Power Van 2.
We have a load at 11th and Market. I'm also with Power Van 3.
Mike ERT1, can you drop them under Isaac 30? Oh, okay, yeah. I can log on ERT1 though, but I'll drop him under Isaac 30. I already have him on.
Two.
Just a 10, right?
Would civilian command be a good solution for metropolitan departments like NYPD or LAPD?
Center City Van 1.
I honestly
Center City Van 1.
am not that familiar with
Hey, be
the...
advised, that group that was at 15th and JFK is now south on 15th. And I believe they're going to be wrapping around on those southbound Broad. I want to follow them with contingent of bike officers and part of my response group.
Sorry, that's interesting.
Let
So,
Isaac 30 know. I think he's at Broad and Walnut right now.
30?
Isaac, where we got that?
Okay.
Isaac 30, we got.
Okay. Mike ERT1, they're going to be 23516, 23516.
Center City Van 4.
Center City Van 4.
Yeah, we got a group at 11th and Market also.
And we got a group of 11 for Market.
Like ERT1.
Mike ERT1.
Yeah, the rear of the protest that was worked out on 15th is stopped at 15 on Ramsey.
Alright, the rear is going to be stopped 15 on Ramsey.
Additional people, still additional people filtering in from side streets in the south.
so it seems like all of the protest
We're
groups
going to have the rear of the
have
group 15th to JFK.
successfully joined together at this intersection on the southwest side of City Hall.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Pretty powerful there. So a lot of people,
Van 400.
a lot of clapping. If anybody is in this, if anybody knows anybody in this crowd, I'd be more than happy to accept live coverage from the ground. I appreciate the coverage Catherine gave us earlier. She had to drop off, I believe, just to stream out elsewhere. But if anybody wants to speak, let their voices be heard. Aside from just being in the march, I'm more than happy to rebroadcast your info.
Stand by. Let me give him a call. Charlie, to be advised, that group that was at 15th and JFK, they're restricted. They're not going to be able to make it around City Hall. They're on the sort of the southwest side of City Hall right now.
Yep.
Priority 1, first one is on 5100 Viola. There was going to be a Hispanic male, basketball shorts of unknown color, gray shirt, and a Nissan Murano.
So James, sorry I was late to join. I just wanted to ask you, are you aware of the gathering that's happening in Cherry Hill today? Apparently on Route 38, there's a demonstration going on in New Jersey. I know it's not super particularly relevant to this exact topic, but I just was curious if you or anybody else knew about it.
I've heard from several people who live in South Jersey that there are some gatherings in South Jersey. Mostly, they are all peaceful, and mostly they are in coordination with local authorities so that they don't get construed as an illegal protest or an illegal gathering. I still don't quite understand the functioning of how a protest becomes illegal, but I'm not a lawyer, so. So this protest has become immobile by virtue of the fact that I haven't seen an angle on it, and I haven't actually physically been there in the past 2 days. I assume that there's some sort of blockade at the south side of City Hall, and that would be why they shuttled everybody up. There's also
there's been action there for the past 3 days. I think a lot of things have been culminating at City Hall.
Doesn't sound like they're making any moves to break this up, at least over the scanner. They don't seem to be making any decisions that would move this group. And I also wouldn't expect them to. City traffic, for those that don't know, city traffic is still currently shut down from Vine Street south to South Street. It's closed to vehicular traffic, and from river to river. The only way to get north and south in the city right now with a vehicle is to go around the city, either on 76, through the city on 676, or up the east side of the city on 95. So that is there's not any sort of impetus to move any congregant groups in Center City right at the moment. Folks can march or move about as they see fit.
CPO received a picture that white male was at the Sunoco 301 South 52. He filled up multiple water bottles with gasoline. He was last seen eastbound on Spruce inside of a gray Honda Civic. He had taken John Tom Victor 7638. Place on the Malcolm wearing a red and blue striped shirt and blue jeans. It's going to be TX6200.
So as of 3:24 p.m., the Minnesota Department of Human Rights filed a civil rights charge against the Minneapolis Police Department, which is quite interesting. And yeah, looks like the group of protesters here is just organically staying around the statue there. Doesn't look to be penned in by police. The Independence Mall is cordoned off. It does look like they decreased the threat level of the officers that were guarding Independence Mall. You see here on the bottom left of the screen some personnel barricades, but those are now bike cops. If you watched my stream a couple days ago, those were shielded riot cops and state police. So they have definitely de-escalated this morning, possibly as a response to the shit show that was last night. When you were, Emma, I'm gonna swing back around to you a little bit. When you were at the protest and police started to attempt to remove your group from 676, was there any indication that they were actually trying to let you leave, or that they were trying to get you to move?
None whatsoever. It took some time for us to realize what was happening. I mean, obviously with such a big group, I really can't say that there were attempts to warn us. It's entirely possible that someone somewhere made an attempt to warn us, but from all accounts I have heard, and from my understanding, there was no warning. And I mean, definitely there was no attempt to make it known to the huge group on 676. It just happened. And they did not allow us, space to leave easily. I think that, yeah, that was...
Yeah, because one of the suppositions in the document that the mayor and the police commissioner released,
yes,
was that that the protesters were ordered to leave several times, and then SWAT was deployed.
And that also rocks were thrown. I don't know where we would get rocks on the expressway.
I don't know either.
That sounds like a DOT issue.
Yeah, that goes back to the potholes everybody's always complaining.
Yes. Yep.
The other big one was did you witness anybody, quote unquote, surrounding a state trooper vehicle and shaking it?
No. I saw no state trooper vehicle. Like, getting on to 676, I did not see any cops there. None. It was just normal cars. They were like honking, right there with us, letting us pass through. And yeah, there was none of that, nothing that I saw. And that it sounds so false.
So yeah, the reason why I ask these questions is because I've put out a call to action for folks, and it is very important that this story be told accurately. And I put out a call of action for folks to contact their city representatives. That includes all at-large representatives, because all city council at-large represent everybody throughout the city. And that includes your local district representative. I've had a couple people ask, I work in Center City, but I don't live there. You're still represented by city council because you're an employee here, you pay taxes here. And so you are represented by city council, and your city council members don't often get to hear from you. So call them, tell them what you think. If you were there at the protest, give them an eyewitness testimony. Give them an eyewitness accounting of what you saw, what happened. And even if you saw something that you think was questionable or violent or could excuse the police interaction, I find personally that the truth is more valuable than any sort of protection of the will of the other folks that were there. If 6 guys were shaking a state trooper vehicle and surrounding it, then tell them you saw 6 guys shaking a state trooper vehicle and surrounding it. That's perfectly legitimate. So far as I've been able to tell, nobody saw that. And I'm going to just minimize the helicopter coverage here for a minute and bring on the screen some coverage from, not that way. I'm going to minimize it from the other computer. Bring on the screen some coverage from the some citizen journalists that were there on Vimeo. And just observe that. This is the scene, and that is the state trooper that was supposedly surrounded. As you can see, he is not sitting in his vehicle, he's standing next to his vehicle. I can't see if there is another state trooper in that vehicle or not. But that was the scene. And if those folks were following the same protocol that they followed all day, which was anytime they were confronted with police resistance, they sat down, kneeled, and spoke with the police, and then either continued on in a different direction or circumvented that blockade. If they were following that same protocol, which they followed all day and continued to follow after that incident, then there wouldn't have been any sort of interaction between them and the state trooper there. And I don't see a large group of people making a spontaneous decision to surround a state trooper car when all day they had not. So I tend to believe that the statement, and I don't know if the state trooper made that statement, but the statement that the state trooper was surrounded was false. I've also seen video shortly after that starts shortly after the police started firing both rubber rounds, less than lethal rounds, and started firing tear gas canisters. And in all of that coverage, there is no indication that those folks were anywhere near the state trooper. So, I have questions, but most of my questions are, why are our elected officials lying to us? Why are they trying to cast aspersions against a large group of peaceful protesters? My personal politics says this is the tactics of Daniel Outlaw, tactics that she made infamous in Portland.
Okay.
But I can't guarantee that. I can say that my personal call to City Council is that we need an independent investigation. We can't have police investigating themselves. That's that's a good contributor to the reason why this protest is occurring in the first place.
Absolutely.
How many times are we going to hear, yes, the police will conduct an investigation, only to have them turn around within a couple weeks and say they've been cleared of all charges? I investigated myself and I found nothing wrong. Amazing.
Shocking. Shocking.
Yeah. I will say, though, that Internal Affairs in Philadelphia has a history of being pretty on the ball. They're pretty good at actually acknowledging wrongdoing.
This is good to hear. I'm not from this city. I came here for school and have stayed, but I love it. I'm passionate about it. The community is vibrant and strong and amazing. It's honestly an honor to be a part of this right now.
Yeah. So I don't know how to count crowd, but that is a full 3 city blocks worth of people.
Yes, it is.
And pretty well crowded in the center of the roadway there. For any folks that I guess the helicopter pilot must have lost attention there. For any folks that are going, and there are going to be folks that are going to complain, no, there is no traffic in Center City at this time. Traffic is shut down from Vine Street on the north to South Street on the south. This protest march started at South Street and is now almost at Vine Street, but they are completely within the area where there is no traffic allowed anyway. That's not to say that marching on a roadway is in any way illegal or incorrect or an invalid form of protest. I'm honestly sick of having to explain to people over and over again that people choose their form of protest, and nothing makes one more viable or legal than another. A protest is a speech against leadership.
Absolutely.
So how are you going to speak against leadership without
causing some disruption, causing some discomfort?
Right. So, yeah. So we have some, a friend and contributor, Andrew, who's talking to me a little bit in text messages here.
Okay.
About the idea of community policing rather than as we have it organized and as most major metropolitans have it organized as a police force. Community policing would turn precincts, instead of being headed by a captain, they have an elected board within that district who manages day-to-day operations. I can see where that would engender trust. I could also see where it might not. We've historically had some problems with. What's going on here? Sorry, I'm looking suddenly at the feed.
Oh, I am too. Yes. So it seems that the protesters have they have some bike cops surrounded. Not doing anything, just standing there.
If you look closely, you can see some bike cops trying to do some stuff on the near the top of the screen there.
They appear to have a caviar bag for some reason.
That's strange.
Maybe he just got caught up, and maybe he's working and just got caught up in the middle of it.
I definitely say they.
That caviar bag.
Yeah, I think the police officers did confiscate that caviar bag from them, the person on screen right now. And it's very unclear as to why that person is being arrested.
Completely.
I'll bring up the scanner. Maybe they'll talk about it.
Stay off the air for a minute. We have mobile officers caught with their cars inside the middle of the crowd at 10th and Market. We need some buses here to get out, please.
There's a traffic car 7th and Market. Have them come west and we get them in the back of the car. The traffic car 7th and Market is sitting there.
Yeah, ready. I got one headed my way now Market. I'm going to need to flip a U-turn, so all they got to do is take him and go.
Bike 2 Barney, we should have 2 bikes we need secured where that takedown was. Make sure we have those 2 bikes secured. We're getting them in a car now. Isaac 24, I have 2 wagons en route to 9th and Market. Would you have 1501 wagon return to the staging area and to the supervisor at 9th and Market? Do you need a sheriff's bus? Bike 2 Barney, no. We have 1 in custody getting into Tom 13 as we speak. Number 8 in Market. Isaac 24, copy. EPW 1501, return to the staging area. Bike 2 Barney, I need 2 bikes secured wherever the takedown was. Make sure we get those 2 bikes.
Yeah, ready. I'm on my way up there. We have a Tom 13 looks like just took a prisoner.
Protesters are trying to
create
their own line of protection for the police officers.
X44X, we got the prisoner. Where would you like him?
Looks like they're also egressing.
They're fighting.
Hey, Robert 7. We're arresting my bikes. Is everybody present accounted for? Any injuries to police?
Charlie 2, give me some more bikes. At 10th and Market, please.
Some more bikes, 10th and Market. More bikes, 10th and Market.
Car 4, I have the Merc. The state police Merc. Isaac, there's who's that? Get us a wagon to Silver and 10th. 10th and Silver.
Copy a wagon over 10th and Silver. Wagon 10th and Silver.
So, looks like a relatively tense situation there was resolved by protesters working with police.
Yes, car 4. He needs now to start down.
To create an egress for the
yes,
police
have mounted start down. Help control this crowd if we need to.
200, okay.
Isaac 18, raise Charlie 2.
Charlie 2.
T-Man usually handles this, but they got all that other stuff going on. You see if the state police can free up a car for me to meet me at 676 West, right at basically at 20th Street, West of Parkway.
All right, good evening. What you got going on, sir? Just need a car.
We got to go out there and check out a scene up there that's out there on 676. I need for me. Protect my people and my trucks.
Understandable. All right, give me a second.
So yeah, pretty interesting. I can't quite determine what intersection they're currently guarding there. Not exactly certain why they're guarding it either.
Is it possible that they are attempting to keep the bulk of the group in some type of close proximity to their support units from the state police and the National Guard, so that response times could be low? It's conjecture, but that's my theory.
Well, this group would be free to move north on Broad if they wanted to. There seems to be some reason why they're still standing there protesting. I would guess by the umbrella on the ground that this group of officers arrested somebody else. Yep, they are asking for trouble putting those cars. So YouTube commenters noticed that they're asking for trouble putting those cars in the middle of the crowd. They've been doing, the PPD has been doing pretty good with using vehicles only for transportation. As soon as officers arrive on scene at a place where they're supposed to be stationed, they seem to be getting out of their vehicles and working on foot. So yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well. There's not been any incidents that I know of ramming here in Philadelphia, which is good. I'd like to keep it that way. Just wanted to see if I could briefly bring up some protests from York, PA. Is that Brian Kemp? Or no, that's not him. So one of our state reps is very vocal, like that gentleman in the center of the frame right now. Yeah. I don't think that's him though, but apparently the crowd appreciated what he was saying. Again, I ask if anybody knows anybody that's in this crowd, please have them get in touch. We would really appreciate some commentary directly from the crowd itself. Again,
hey Jim, so you know, I was able to go back to New Jersey today and pick up some necessary equipment like a hard hat and shit. Just based on the nature of the way things have been going, I needed proper. But long story short, direct action continues out on the week. I'm gonna try and at least get out once to be boots on the ground and do some on the ground reporting for you if I can.
Awesome. I might take a few moments to just see if I can catch up with this group myself. If you and Emma would like to just talk and take over the broadcast for a bit, I'm going to see what I can do to get up there.
Yeah, sure. So Emma, I think we were all kind of having a conversation a little bit earlier, and unfortunately I stepped away as it was beginning, so I didn't hear everything that everybody was saying. But just sort of about like the notion of community and who's a part of the community and who has a right to be a part of their community, or like right to decide this, that, or the other thing about the community. And I know that Philadelphia has been a place with a lot of people moving in fairly recently in the past, and I want to know, I guess, what has been your experience with sort of, I guess, entrenched Philadelphians or Philadelphians that have been here for longer? Do you feel like you've been welcomed, or do you feel like it's been hostile or in some way like not welcoming.
I firmly believe that my experience has been if you walk down the street and smile at your neighbor and ask them how they are, they respond so warmly. I've truly had the most amazing neighbors living in Philadelphia, living in Point Breeze and living in Francisville. I now live in Kensington. But especially in Francisville, our directly next door neighbors on our block, this father, he had a couple brothers. One of them lived down the street. One of them lived in LA, I think. But he would tell us how his mother, started the neighborhood watch program there. She started how every block has their little block party. She started the yearly block party. She started the cleanup. It's incredible. People here are so passionate about their community, especially when they've been here for such a long time. And so if you just express the notion of wanting to be a part of that and, showing a true sentiment of caring about this place that you live in, and wanting to help out, they're all about that. They want you to be a part of that. So the idea of community policing, I think, that can absolutely be done here. Yeah, I have felt nothing but welcomed in Philadelphia.
That's really good, and I'm really happy to hear that that's been your experience by and large. That people have been welcoming of you to the community. I guess I asked that question with a little bit of an intent, and it's to make a point about these sort of roving gangs or posses that we have been witnessing, starting with as I've been kind of calling it, the South Philly Alamo at Target on what was it, Sunday night, and then yesterday we had a group of very heavily armed individuals outside of the Palladium in South Philly, and then another group in Fishtown and all that. And what I think the point that I'm really making here is that on a day-to-day basis, the majority of the members of the Philadelphia community are very kind and warm and welcoming to people of all different walks of lives, genders, backgrounds, ethnicities, any subsect of people that you want to get into. For the most part, most people are very, very kind and welcoming to those people. And I'd like to really point out that I feel like those individuals that are engaging in that kind of hostile behavior and that type of intimidating behavior, they really make up the minority, and it feels like they're clinging to an age past, back when you had Italian gangs that ran the streets and ran the neighborhoods. And it's kind of ironic to me too, because these same people will like claim that they're defending the neighborhood from gangs of people of different ethnicities, and not realize that what they're doing is exactly what they're claiming to be against. And it's the cognitive dissonance there is it's kind of bewildering to me at times. I was wondering what your take on any of that might
be. I haven't lived in those areas, and I definitely consider myself. I mean, it's a privilege that I am white, and I don't. They wouldn't antagonize me. That's just how it is. That's God, incredibly infuriating.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's definitely what you're saying is true. Is like you as a white woman are less a target of that type of attitude and that type of thing and whatnot. But
But
I guess I'm just like, do you feel like that from what you've observed, especially as an outsider, do you feel like that, you know, that perspective on my part? I'm sorry, I don't mean to say outsider like you're like
No, I'm from a different state. It's okay. That's
somebody new to the community. That's a more accurate way of saying.
Tom 7, have you given huge caution?
But do you, as somebody who's a newer member of the community, do you feel like what I have observed reflects what you have observed? You know, do you view these people as a minority of the people that you've interacted with, or, you know, is that more of a dominant mindset?
Oh, I would definitely feel that that's a minority. Yeah, just what my neighbors in the past have expressed. You know, I think that they would go about their communication a lot differently if these groups were rampant. They'd probably be a lot more. I don't know. They would take to us less, maybe.
Well, and I guess as an extension of that, because we were talking about the idea of community police, and that's like on paper, the idea of community policing sounds like a really, really great idea. But I think, you know, the flip side of that, and if we're going to go down that route, the thing we need to be wary of is, are these the people that are going to be our community police? And if that's the case, did we just trade an organization that at least has some shred of oversight, some shred of accountability for one that has essentially none? And maybe that's my only reservation of going that particular direction, is that we need to be careful in how we do it, you know?
That is a great point, of course. As we saw with, you know, the white supremacists in Fishtown last night, they, you know, it's hand in hand with the police. And so if they consider themselves to be upstanding members of their community, and they're going to be a part of a community policing, then yeah, that's frightening. So a deep practicing of accountability will obviously have to be involved in the development of that. I am no expert. I don't know where it would begin. All I know is that I am willing to jump in, educate myself, do whatever it takes to make that happen. I truly believe we can get there.
Yeah, well, I think another sort of compounding issue is that, you know, in what I've observed over the past few days with police actions, you know, on some element, you know, my instinct and you know, I have a certain degree of bias, and I'm willing to admit that, but you know, when I observe it, there's some degree of aggression, but I also feel like that there might be some degree of lack of training, not just in how, you know, to use the equipment that they're using, because they're by definition using a lot of these less equipment improperly. Like, you're not supposed to spray people with that type of pepper spray at that range. The minimum range is 2 meters. You're not supposed to be firing rubber bullets directly at people. You're supposed to be deflecting them off of surfaces, and you're supposed to be firing them from distances of 25 meters at least. You know, there's a lot
I was not aware of.
Yeah, there's a lot of just practical. They're using the equipment improperly, which I think partially at least comes down to some degree. It comes down to training. But I also, you know, from my own experiences with police and my own observations, I think aggression comes into play too. So I guess the ultimate point that I'm getting at is, you know, if we shift to a community policing model, do we lose that element of training? And does that compound that issue as well? And that's definitely something that we really need to think really hard about if we're pursuing that. And I'm certainly not trying to, discourage a community policing model, because whatever we're doing right now is clearly not working. But if we're going to shift models, we definitely need to address the actual issues and think about how we got to where we are. So I don't know. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts about like what does it look like if now we have community policing? Do they go through a training protocol similar to what current law enforcement do? And how do we prevent that from creating the same kind of toxic environment that's led to the type of policing that we have in our communities today?
I'm going to be honest. These are things that I'm really not well versed on. And I don't want to say anything
yeah, I realize
incorrect.
That's a little bit unfair of a question, because I mean,
it's okay. It's okay. It should be talked about.
Emma's white and we're white.
It's true. I am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of throwing things out here in the air, just to get ideas, things that we should think about and consider. I'm not necessarily looking for an answer. Obviously nobody has a, this is how we do it, this is the correct way to do it answer. Otherwise we wouldn't even be having this discussion if it were that cut and dry. I was just wondering if you had any takes on any of those types of things, because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I think it's a discussion that definitely needs to be had.
Well, I'll be thinking about it more and more. I wish I had more of a constructive response for you.
No, that's fine. Let's. Why don't we redirect the conversation to something that maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable talking about. So, as you've been kind of out in the crowd and interacting with people, what has been the general attitude and the general sort of feeling that you've sort of experienced from the other people around you? Are people angry? Are people, sad and grieving? Like where does the kind of, like, I guess to use a sort of academic term, like the cultural zeitgeist of what you've experienced lie?
I feel a solemnity. I feel that even in these very engaged and energized protests, it is still very much something of mourning. And we're all recognizing actively the severity of everything that's going on, and why we are gathered here. It's not a place to go and meet up with your friends for a day out. We are actively working towards something. And there's care in that, there's love in that, there's hope in that. But it definitely, there is, an intensity of grief, but it's spread out among people, so that it doesn't take any one of us down. That's what it's felt like for me.
Yeah, so I mean, I went out on Saturday, and I haven't been out since. I've been trying to kind of focusing my energies on these types of endeavors, like getting the stories out and telling the stories. But I would agree with you. I would say that the people that I heard speaking, like doing the speaking out, if on behalf of the group, like the tone was very much that of mourning, but with the undertone of like righteous anger at the injustice. So whereas this heightened energy of frustration, it feels like it comes from a place of grief. And there was a really powerful moment for me where the sister of a man who was shot and killed by Philadelphia police, right where sort of everything kind of popped off, right at Broad and Vine. And mind you, this was after that whole incident had happened. This was after the state police car had gone up in flames and the bulk of the group had moved on. She gave a very, very impassioned, a very, very powerful speech about her brother that the Philadelphia police had shot and killed, and talked about his 3 children, talked about, the future he was building for himself, talked about, how he was a member of his community, and talked about how, he had a life. And when we say a life taken from somebody, a lot of times, we think of it in just like a plain, like you're no longer alive thing. And I feel like a lot of times people forget to realize that we're also talking about like years and decades, of things that they're going to do, impacts they're going to have on their communities and individuals and their family for years to come. And that's what's really taken away. It's not just, oh, this person, we can't hang out with them anymore. It's this person was a member of our community, and we lose that asset. It's not just we like this person. It's our communities need these people, and we need them to stop being taken away from us.
Absolutely.
Was the message that I took from it.
Yes. Truly stunning.
So where are they right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's take a moment to check back in on the feed. Since you're back in, I'll let you take control.
I can't tell about where they are. Is that the roundabout?
Is it near Independence Hall?
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks near Independence Hall. Like
yes.
That looks to be right.
Oh, that's like 7th and Chestnut there.
Center is maybe.
Yeah, that's like 7th and Chestnut.
Yeah, it's near that museum.
No, it looks like
the Pointless Museum.
Or helicopter footage too.
Yeah, the helicopter is probably running out of fuel. They've been covering for quite a while now.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna pin you on the first screen for the moment, Emma.
Okay. I will let you know I do have to go out and vote shortly.
That is important. Yeah, don't forget it is election day here in Philadelphia, of all things. It is. One of my friends is a committee person for the Democratic Party, and she was arrested last night as part of the protest. And you want to talk about election tampering? That's some pretty severe election tampering, if you want to call it anything. So,
was she released quickly?
She was. Her husband, it took a couple hours for her to get her husband, but she was able to get home. She's all right. She's angry.
Yes.
But she's all right.
So, James, are you aware of what anybody has been being charged with? Like outside of obvious stuff, if you're stealing or you're destroying property, but people who have been arrested in the peaceful sides of the protest, what anybody has been being charged with, or are they
just as a general rule, or?
Well, I mean, have you heard any stories from individuals? I'm not asking if you know what every person is charged with.
I know. I mean, I haven't heard any none of the individuals that I know that have been arrested have explained what they've been charged with. I get the feeling they're not being told really what they've been charged with. And the arrest numbers do not look like they equal the detainment numbers. So it seems like they're detaining a lot of people, bringing them to the precinct, holding them in a holding cell for an hour or two, and then either letting them go or charging them with, a citation, giving them a citation if they were enough of a pain in the butt to the officers, basically.
So you feel like a lot of those apparent arrests or detainments, I don't mean to say you feel like it, I should ask, do you feel like that is that's being used as a tactic to sort of whittle away at the numbers and maybe as a psychological tactic to decrease morale amongst the protests?
It's a well-known tactic, yes, to decrease participation. It's basically a quieting tactic. It is a violation of your First Amendment rights, but it's a little tough to complain about not getting charged with anything. So they get away with it quite frequently. Just catch up.
I think I'm going to have
there is.
Leave this, but I'm super, super appreciative.
No, thank you. We really thank you for your story, and thank you for coming on and letting us know what you're doing and what you saw. And please stay safe out there. And thank you for raising your voice and telling everybody your story.
I do not plan on stopping.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Emma.
Of course. Thank all of you. Truly. I hope you have a great night and stay safe.
Thank you.
You too. Real quick, James, just something that's coming up in the YouTube comments here. There's an individual claiming that a friend who has been called up for duty, saying that the U.S. Army Reserves, not the National Guard, specifically U.S. Army Reserves, were activated last night. He hasn't said that he knows that they've been deployed, but he says that he knows that a friend of his who's U.S. Army Reserves has been called up for potential duty. So just I know that's a little bit of a speculative thing to report, but there's the potential for actual military, not just National Guard, I suppose.
Yeah, so that's the reserves. Yes, we have lost the helicopter view. Oh, I will put it back now. The helicopter seems to be back now. I think they broke off for a minute there, and I'm not sure why, but there it is. Yeah, so comments are saying that they heard they're calling more police to the area, possibly worried about folks heading onto the bridge. I don't know that's an actual worry. That bridge is a pedestrian bridge, so people going onto that bridge would be perfectly safe. But so long as it was...
Even tactically, as if you're leading the march, walking onto a bridge, basically that's cornering yourself. You have two ways in and out, and it's pretty easy to blockade yourself in. I would think that the organizers would be more intelligent than that. I don't think the bridge is a target.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost my... Oh, there it is. And so we're joined by Shoshana. Shoshana can introduce themselves and let us know what pronouns they prefer. And hey, Shosh.
Hi.
If you could introduce yourself and let us know what pronouns you prefer, and do you mind being on video in the broadcast, or would you prefer to just...
Yeah, I don't mind if you need me or if whatever you need.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the first screen here, and then you're out live. Introduce yourself and let us know your pronouns and whatever else you'd like us to know.
Hi, I'm Shoshana, she, her. I'm located in Los Angeles right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in from Los Angeles. Your town is having quite the.
Yep, I got helicopters above me right now.
Quite the difficulty. Also, it seems like your police and your mayor are having quite a bit of difficulty actually managing the response in an appropriate way, like ours were for a couple of days there.
How are things in Philly right now? They're still not, like, police are still...
It seems like today, it seems like that they may have stood down a little bit. They may have made it so that I didn't see National Guard officers at City Hall, which they were definitely all around City Hall yesterday. And so I think the face-off with protesters on 676 last week, or yesterday, sorry, not last week.
It feels like a week,
hey,
right?
Jane, can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah.
This is a little bit urgent. So I'm getting a report here that over the police standards it was heard, quote, "We want them to get blasted from the side of MLK if they try to go around the art museum." So it appears that they may be intending to use the art museum as a potential location for some kind of action, whether that be massive arrests or deploying tear gas or other types of things.
I heard scanner chatter like that earlier. Usually when they say blasted, they're not talking about other groups, they're talking about themselves. I'm going to bring the scanner in a little bit.
Take the 95 southbound ramp at Market, front of Market.
I just make me never see that.
Thank you.
So we'll just keep it at a relatively moderate level and just see if they say anything interesting. They were saying that they didn't want to get blasted, as in suddenly be presented with a lot of protesters from their side. And so they were concerned about that earlier a couple of times. It seems to be pretty difficult for...
J-Man, I need you to go over all bands, notify command staff. Any redeployment of ERTs must be called into the real-time crime center. Copy.
Don't know what that means.
1803.
Yeah, 13th was still working. You turned us off to 22nd District last 2 miles. It's going to be 856.
Nate asked, did most people get their bikes back? I saw as one guy was supposed to get everything with that state police there. There is a person who volunteered to protect left behind property, including bicycles and things like that.
I-610 on the air.
And I'm going to find the post for you real quick, and I will post it in the all chat so that everybody can take a look at it. This person just, says to send a picture of your lost property, and they'll confirm whether they have it or not. They have a bunch of bicycles, so...
9 and Charlie 10, if you're on the air, and ERT 19, please contact, correction, Isaac 9 and Charlie 10, contact ERT 19 when you get a chance. Let me know if y'all need the number.
So what are things looking like in LA, Sheriff?
Yeah, that's what I'm,
when they get a chance,
the person that I normally follow to see what's going on is not there today, so I'm trying to look for an alternate, somebody who's out there and doing live footage, but I've been keeping track of that. I mean, it seems to be the same thing. I had a friend out in Santa Monica 2 days ago, or it might have been yesterday, I can't remember now. I think it's yesterday. They keep making our curfews earlier and earlier with very little notice. Like they changed the curfew in Santa Monica from 6 to 4, and they told everybody at 3:15. And then at 3, my friend was there at 3:18. A bunch of police showed up and just started tear gassing everybody, and they're like, "Curfew's at 4, leave." We're like, "Great, we'd love to." We just block the street. So yeah. And reports of similar stuff happening in the Hollywood, not Hollywood, sorry, further downtown stuff. So, I don't know, it seems like the same story. Not everywhere, but seems to be in the places that need massive police reform are the places that have the most trouble. What a surprise.
We're going to do a fast stop. 1402, we're going to take care of the homers.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get live updates of what's happening. I'm in Hollywood, and a lot of the National Guard stuff is in Burbank. So when they come in, I can hear all of the trucks and helicopters heading out to wherever they are. So that's kind of like, if I hear the sirens, I'm like, oh, better check up. Something's happening down there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We've had some interesting interactions along those same lines. Our curfew was actually made later today.
I saw that.
8:30 instead of 5 or 6. Which is good. You know, I detest curfews in any sort of way anyway. But
it's like making a massive law that suddenly makes 5,000 people illegal.
Well, and
like,
yeah,
there's seems something really wrong with that.
Yeah, that's kind of the only point of it, is to make it so that the police don't need a reason to interact with you at that point. They have reasonable, justifiable cause or reasonable cause right off the bat.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like, you literally just passed a law so that what I'm doing, which was legal 10 minutes ago, is now illegal.
Yep.
Don't we have like a First Amendment or something that talks about that?
You would think that we do, but I don't.
Well, it's very important that we protect the GameStop and the Gucci stores, though.
Actually, I believe the freedom to travel is covered under I don't want to claim an amendment, but there is actually one in the Bill of Rights that's specifically the freedom to travel.
To move freely.
Yeah, I'm not literate enough about the Bill of Rights to know exactly which one, but I know it's in there somewhere. I'll look it up.
So that is specifically why there's a lot of concern for folks around Real ID and the Real ID program. Just so everybody watching knows, Real ID will never be an actual bar to you traveling. The TSA will never be able to fully keep you from traveling, even if you don't have an ID. A lot of the reasoning is practical behind that. Imagine you were on your way to the airport in a taxi cab, and you got out and you dropped your wallet. They're not going to let you be stuck. And the reasoning being there would be more economic damage to not letting you go through than there is to the risk of you doing something if you do go through. So the loss to the airline of that income because they have to pay for your ticket would be too great. So they don't want to do it that way.
Yeah, but
so anyway, then the secondary sorry, I don't know what happened to your feed there. The secondary reasoning is interstate travel. So Congress, the states cannot control interstate travel, and Congress cannot make a law that affects interstate commerce. So you can't make a law that will stop you from being able to conduct commerce across state lines. It's a weird little loophole there. So Brett recommended a live feed, multi-feed on Twitch that does seem to have some feeds from multiple people. Looking at the feed from Fishtown here, it looks like the Fishtown standoff has not abated. That there's a pretty big standoff still. Have you heard about these guys, Shush?
yeah, the whatever they are. I don't. What are they calling themselves? But is that verified that the police were like, yeah, they're working with that?
No, it wasn't. The police were not it's complicated. The police weren't working with them. Some of them are friends.
It was implicit.
Yeah, some of them are friends with police officers, and so they were taking pictures on their cell phones, selfies and stuff like that, and celebrating the fact that they were out and about with their weapons and had the privilege of being free, while some of us were not quite as free to do what we wanted last night. Is this live?
And they were really out and about after curfew. And
oh yeah, they were definitely out and about after curfew. I think they're reporting on this. Yeah, Fox is currently doing a report on the reason why we lost helicopter coverage, by the way, is because it is 6:38 p.m. And so all the news channels are doing their desk service right at the moment. So
so they're using those feeds?
No, they're not using the feeds, but they pull the helicopters back to refuel in case they want to send them up. They know that they have other content to send out over the air right now.
The difference between what is on the news and what is on live feeds and on Twitter is shocking.
Yeah,
it's a completely different story.
Yeah,
wild.
The story about 676, if you know, I hesitate to think. So there's this blackout for Black Lives Matter movement, and I'm not able to participate in it today. I could probably participate in it on most days, but at the moment I can't. There's too much going on, and this is the only way I have to share verifiable information with people. And so National Guard spotted heading down Columbus with armored trucks filled with armed protesters, according to Facebook.
Is this in Philly?
Yeah, I don't know that I believe that one, Chris. I'd have to see some pictures.
Yeah, well, that's why I sent it to messages so you could
determine whether or not that was something you wanted to. But that was just posted to a what was the group Gritty City United allegedly 10 minutes ago or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, developments like that I'm seeing as Facebook posts, I'm gonna send in your messages so you can determine whether or not it's worth reporting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still mention them. It's just that, like, that sounds like utter bullshit to me. But I can't see the National Guard stopping to let a bunch of armed protesters onto their trucks.
I'm sorry. Did I type armed protesters? I meant armed soldiers. That was a mistake in what I typed. Not.
Okay.
Yeah, armed soldiers, not protesters. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, definitely not letting armed protesters onto the trucks.
Yeah, I mean, the National Guard is a relatively professional organization. You know, not the best thing to be using against civilians, but at the same time, better trained than police officers in most cases. So
well, that's what my friend in Minneapolis was saying. Is that he was saying a lot of people like want the National Guard instead of their police because, well, I mean, the police in Minneapolis have gone. They're rogue. Like they literally are. Like everything that I've heard from my friends that are living there are like, this is, well, their track record on solving crimes is abysmally low. They have, like, they're rampant with corruption. Like it is a corrupt wing of the American government, like 100%. And I fully believe that the protesters in Minneapolis are heroes who are trying to expose a corrupt wing of the government. I truly believe that based on everything that my friends have said who live there. And they were like, we welcome the National Guard because at least they have some sort of oversight, you know? At least they have some sort of, the people have some sort of protections, whereas they don't have it with their local police. There's no oversight. They're a separate wing of the government. There's nobody to come in and say, wow, you all really aren't doing your job. So I don't know if it's the same in Philadelphia and Los Angeles. I suspect it is not as rampant as it is in Minneapolis, but maybe I'm wrong. It's a very corruptible wing of the government. It's so easy, like, there has to be more oversight. Like, it's ridiculous that there isn't. You have an organization that you give weapons to and give basically immunity to. Of course it's going to be corrupted. Like, what are people thinking? I mean, I know what they're thinking.
Absolute power corrupts, absolutely,
yeah.
Sure.
Didn't someone important say that one time?
Someone, not exact. I'm really bad with history and names, so.
Somebody important somewhere said that.
Yeah.
Might have been Shakespeare, actually. I'm not sure.
So, yeah, there's, I was looking at, no, it looks like this coverage on Periscope from the precinct up in Fishtown is not actually live. I'm gonna keep poking and see if I can find a live feed, an actually current live feed. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm wondering what has happened to that protest march. We've lost all coverage of it because they have taken off the helicopter feed, and I don't have any local feeds.
Do we still have police scanner available?
I do.
Yeah, that's
Tom 6 I received that they stopped at the JFK and blended in with the crowd.
Okay, well that answers that.
Charlie 102, this group is on the move from Giron and Montgomery. They're going westbound on Giron from 500. We'll keep you apprised, radio. It looks like maybe close to 100, 150. We'll keep it fine.
Okay, thank you.
So it sounds like they're back down to JFK.
Jack, we're pulling off the Gerard.
Jackie, okay.
Charlie 107 is following on radio.
Okay.
Here's man. We're just giving updates.
Anyone, we're going to do our best with traffic control, but if we could have any traffic support ahead of the march, that'd be fantastic.
So I'm receiving a report from Brooklyn that there is a Stonewall gathering and march, and it currently remains peaceful.
Alright.
My friend Rob is live. Let me go to his live feed.
We've got something's going down in Los Angeles. I can hear it. See if I can figure out what's going on.
Charlie,
Oh yeah? Give me just 1 second.
Charlie at ladder.
There's no chassis for March walking on March northbound on Gerard Avenue. We have bike officers with us.
Black Lives Matter!
Tom 6.
Okay. It looks like they,
Yeah, the 5 officers that are going to be getting released from last out. They're going to be taking their cars over, so they're going to have to pack
in
up
Los
their stuff out of
Angeles, or
there.
if it's more focused on Philadelphia.
No, I mean we're giving more accurate news than the news is lately. So I'm of course interested in what's happening in Los Angeles.
So there's a protest in Hollywood right now, and so it's like 3:45 here, and they changed the curfew from 6 to 4. So we're like getting really close to that 4 o'clock time right now. So I think that's why I'm hearing all the sirens. They're on the 101 right now. So far it's peaceful, but we'll see what happens when it gets to be 4 o'clock.
Let them run northbound. Keep 1 close.
Oh, they're actually coming up really close to where I live. I might be able to look out my window and see people coming up the block. I'm watching I have a live feed of it that I just found. I can get back to it.
Yeah, you can share it on your screen. I can pin it out.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm on my phone. Let me bring it up on my.
Hey James, real quick, do we have any relatively precise location as to where the main body of the protest is right now? I have a person out on the street, but they are just getting out there and they don't know where the action is happening, and they're trying to get on the scene.
I don't know if you can see my feed. I'm having trouble recognizing the neighborhood.
Hang on. Let me switch over to YouTube real quick.
We're still west going to Gerard, passing Columbia. No issues so far.
Rear.
Down Gerard, passing Columbia. No issues.
Okay, no issues westbound on Gerard and Columbia.
So that's a group, Chris. Gerard and Columbia.
Gerard and Columbia is one. Okay.
That's Jack here. 15th and JFK still is at 500.
And that's another group is 15th and JFK.
Okay, thank you.
Was that the two groups that met up?
I don't think so. There seems to be a lot of organic groups going in and out of connection today. At one point, just before I switched to broadcasting, there was a group moving. So you know the city's geography pretty okay. There was a group moving westbound on the Parkway towards the Art Museum. There was a group moving eastbound on Vine Street that had been at the Art Museum. There was a group moving southbound on 13th Street towards City Hall, and there was a group moving northbound on Broad Street. And they were all just going wherever each group seemed to want to go, so it's pretty interesting. These protests are pretty massive and pretty diverse and all over the place.
Yeah, same with the ones out. It's the same in Los Angeles.
I'm going to bring up the scanner again. I'll bring it down if we need.
10.
I-610, Berkeley.
Can you ascertain if we are in need of any personnel in Center City at this point?
What was that just came across the scanner?
It's a supervisor asking if asking dispatch if
additional personnel is needed in Center City.
Yeah, she's asking over the general if there's any personnel needed anywhere in Center City.
Copy, thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to run intelligence for a couple of people on the ground simultaneously while participating in the live cast, so excuse me if my questions are interrupting, but I want to try and help keep my friends safe.
Are you able to raise Louis 1?
Louis 1 on the air?
Disregard, you called me on the phone.
Okay.
I'm going to switch Rob's coverage to my second computer.
Louis 200.
Louis 200.
Louis 200. We saw the wagon coming towards the 15th and Market.
1402 on the air.
1402.
Are you responding to Louis 200 at 15 and Market?
James, do you know or are you aware if you've heard of any similar groups to like what we saw last night in Fishtown or the Palladium in South Philly of, sort of vigilante groups or posses forming anywhere, or have we not heard anything like that yet?
I'm sorry?
I was saying the sort of like posses or whatever we're calling them.
Select on the white.
Your Meal Team 6 squads. Have we heard of anything like that forming in addition to the peaceful demonstrations?
Not that I'm aware of. It doesn't. It seems like they may have taken Kenny's words to heart.
Oh, I missed Kenny's statement on that. What did he have to say regarding that?
So that's an interesting thing. The statement that's on the website about last evening's action on 676 has been constantly updated throughout the day as they get more information and as they try and change the excuses. On the website, it is changed several times, and so I need to actually find. So Kenny's Twitter feed has the current.
That's correct. 3rd Street and 5th Street, you can cut northbound down and let Walnut run.
Radio to X16.
Yes, ma'am.
Man, it's real weird.
It's coming up in Maryland on a white
hold their keys like 10 minutes before the curfew time starts. They all do.
2012. And it says that the tag is expired. The upper left side, stable condition, being transported to Temple by medics. We don't have any flash this time. He could have possibly occurred at Kensington and Huntington. We did check. There was no scene there. Keep you updated if we get anything else.
All right, then. CI6, I received that information. CI6, okay.
Fine.
up? Yeah, ready. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, still Westland Gerard, the rears of approaching Frankfurt now.
Sorry.
616 says fire.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have time 22 come over here and send me parking authority, please?
Tom 22.
So I'm going to read Kenny's statement with regard to this. I'll just read it out for you. And hang on a second. Let me also restart this video feed here. As demonstrations continue in Philadelphia, I'd like to address some incidents that have taken place since yesterday. We applaud peaceful protests and support Black Philadelphians' demand for change, but which I'm going to also comment as I do this. It's not just Black Philadelphians there, Mayor. There's tons of white Philadelphians also having issue with police violence. But some are using this pivotal moment to create chaos. These are all the words of Jim Kenney. Last night, a group in Fishtown made a show of protecting their neighborhood. Their actions were antagonistic exemplified deep divides, and made a bad situation worse. I'm glad police moved in to disperse the group, but I'm not happy with how long it took. That was a mistake. We understand a community's desire to protect their neighborhood, and if they want to do that in a peaceful, non-threatening way, we would allow it regardless of neighborhood. Armed vigilantism will not be tolerated moving forward. And then he goes on to...
So they're implicitly I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he's implicitly stating that the actions that took place last night will officially have been tolerated. Just to clarify that point.
He's stating that essentially they should not have been tolerated.
That's probably a more fair take.
Yeah, I try to be fair with folks sometimes. I was pretty rough on him this morning. He's basically saying that they're not going to tolerate it any longer. I don't know how accurate that is. We'll unfortunately have to wait and see, and that wait and see process can take a long time.
Unfortunately, I'm indirectly associated with some individuals who participated in some of those actions through the labor union that I'm part of. So I'll try and monitor their personal Facebook pages to see if I can, to see if there are any updates on that or any information I can give going forward.
Awesome. So some folks are talking about bricks a lot. I just wanted to broach that topic. In case anybody's unaware, a common tactic, especially in cities ruled by broken windows policing, is for the police to seed an area with potential improvised weapons, so that they can lower their ability even further to have an excuse to interact with you. Also, if they happen to knock you down and you happen to be near an improvised weapon, they can just say you were carrying it. There's quite a number of videos of LAPD, Shoshi, doing this, putting these kinds of things on the ground. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen any?
I have seen people posting that on Facebook. I have not seen any evidence of it in the live stream that I've been watching. That's what I'll say.
I see. Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't think it's not a not a thing
I don't think it's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's also not a thing that is gonna be. They're gonna usually just do right out in the open. So.
Group going northbound on Broad Street, and you have another group going southbound on 15th Street from Chestnut.
Okay, so.
Another group southbound at Chestnut. One northbound at Broad, one southbound at Chestnut. From 15.
Tom 7 to 13th and Walnut, come out to 13th Street and cut Walnut Street. That's 19 got. Tom 7 to Tom 6X. Which group are you going to stay with? You're going to go southbound?
The other group stopped at Chestnut Street. I'm not sure if they're trying, if they're going to go up Chestnut Street and go up the other group or not. Waiting.
Alright, I'm going to lose my ability to
They're now heading westbound on Walnut from
do quite a number of things in a minute here. I'm just going to leave...
Westbound Water from 15, Highway 180, 21297.
I'm going to leave this up in the format it is because you guys can control it by spot. Chris, you know the difference between Spotlight and...
Give me the size of the Chestnut Street group.
Yeah, I'm not at my computer at the moment.
Sorry, I'll make sure to also co-host.
No problem. Do you want me to spotlight your... You're going to leave your feed on?
Huh? No, you can just control what feed is shown by spotlighting. So, for instance, let me pull up my Zoom on my phone. So, go ahead and spotlight my phone.
Oh, there you are. Okay, cool. Boom.
Great. And so that'll switch what feed is active. But if you could go ahead and spotlight yourself or the house or whatever.
Yeah, can you drop me a set of numbers at 500 East Gerard Avenue, please?
I'm going to leave I know it's kind of annoying, but I'm going to leave the scanner up so that I can hear it, because I can hear it through the Zoom call.
For 600 Gerard, Highway 180 just got a set. Do you need a separate?
Gerard.
500 East Gerard.
Isaac 10.
Isaac 10.
The National Guard's in the process of switching now.
Isaac 10, okay.
Thompson, looks like we still have a group westbound on Walnut.
Do my best for the win.
Isaac 4.
Yes, ma'am. The tail of the group is still westbound on 15. Crossing Chestnut. There's the group coming into this group. 15 from Chestnut.
Oh, can you hear that, Chris?
Yeah, 3x1 to see if
No, the audio for the police scanner is inaudible to me. But
yeah,
if there's anything worth reporting, go ahead and just state it.
Yeah,
Can I have one of those wagons, the 26, start over in case I need it?
I'm watching the live feed for Hollywood right now.
People down here,
it's 4 o'clock now, so that's the daily
Holly one. Happy Holly is from behind the package,
curfew
please.
that they put in for Hollywood. But as soon as that happens, it's really hard to find a live feed because all of the news stations, as soon as a curfew gets called, they basically turn their cameras all into a
Anyone,
location, and then they don't come back.
We could go westbound or eastbound, whatever you want to do. If I can have a force, I can get them away from this place.
Sort of activity.
Lots of bottles are coming back and forth when the crowds are far.
Because you basically don't get to see the lead up to police violence, which inevitably has erupted.
We're out here. We're taking care of it.
So it's
Tom 7, I want all my traffic units on Walnut Street between Broad and 25th to take one street south. One street south.
So I'm just trying to keep an eye on it out there. Chris, you're currently in contact with people in the Philadelphia protests?
That location.
Yeah, I'm in contact with two people on the ground. As far as I know, neither of them have been able
Anyone
to
has flight team 3,
join
5,
up
and the
with
25th flight team get east
any
of
of the
this crowd.
major
Well, the
groups
crowd's
that
moving
are
east now. Get
traversing.
east of them and away from that bar.
Yeah, unfortunately, because there's not a concrete live feed to go off of. I don't really have
Charlie
good
6,
information to give them
What's
at the
your
moment,
location?
other than where things have been in the past, which
26.
is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
All right, meet yourself with Palmer and Gerard.
I know
I
there's
also, I think it's worth mentioning that on Saturday, when I was the last
where's
time I was
that group
actually
that's
out
fighting
on
on
the
Gerard?
streets for the
Exactly.
first day of the protests in
Anyone,
Philadelphia.
they're just east
In
of the
addition to
L,
my cell
and
phone,
they're
I
moving
also
east on
had
Gerard now. I want all my
standard
teams in front of them.
walkie-talkie. And very, very early
Be in
on
front of the bar.
into the day's events, basically as soon as things started getting tense right at Broad and Vine, we lost all kind of radio communication. And I don't know whether that was merely coincidental or whether that was due to some kind of jamming activity by the Philadelphia Police Department or some kind of law enforcement agency. I know that
we're going to move them
most law enforcement agencies have some kind of capability to do that, and
Tom 7, I
that's
want all
something
my
that
traffic units on Walnut
poses a
Street between
difficulty
13
for
and
what we're
2nd.
trying to accomplish.
You can close down northbound,
which
open
is
up Walnut
unfortunate.
Street, run on Walnut. I want you to cut off Walnut there, please. Make everybody go south.
P1, you want all my flight sergeants and their cops to expedite, get in front of that crowd, get east of them, in front of them, and then we'll meet up with the other resources and we'll push them back west.
7 outside. 7. You want us to move off with you or stand by?
Wall off Frankfurt North. Don't let them go off Frankfurt North. Wall it off.
Car 5 to Charlie 6.
Charlie 11.
Did you hear that, Chris?
Charlie 11.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
Cool.
Car 5 trying to raise me.
5.
Car 5, I wasn't, but are you at Frankfurt and George? Yes, sir. Anyone, they're passing Frankfurt now. We're going to try to get east of them, completely in front of them again. When we get those other resources with us, we'll start pushing them back.
Frankfurt, they might take that small street back to Frankfurt. They're doing. They're coming, small street. I don't know what that is. I come action that, might they cut them off at Frankfurt if you want to block off.
All right, just follow them as best as we can. Try to get front and rear. Once they're taking Shackham-Axon.
If the bikes on Frankfurt release and come out to Shackham-Axon in Frankfurt, they can block them. They can head up that way.
They're already on Shackham-Axon. We'll just go front and rear.
Yeah, nobody has the front.
Car 5 to Charlie 6.
Oh, sorry. That's me.
Charlie 6. Are you sending highway information to the...
Charlie 6, that's correct. We're turning around and heading over there, and we got the sheriff's bus standing around with us.
Highway 1, we're en route. Same 7X. We're at Gerard and Marlboro. Where do you want this line put up?
$94.
6-4.
Okay, we're west on Walnut from 15th Street. Large group is west on Walnut from 15th.
Or west on Walnut for 15, west on Walnut for 15. T-Tom. Yes, Central. Be advised, we have a large group gathering at 1500 Chestnut, getting a downport.
Charlie 2, can I get some bikes at the rear of this westbound march on Walnut?
Rear it is.
Well, I'm on the 16 block. We're still over there.
Zach, they're north on Frankfurt now.
North on Frankfurt, north on Frankfurt.
Highway 1, so Highway 1. Are we moving west, sir? Correct.
Eddie, we were going over ours. We'll change it to what we're going to do now in Frankfurt to help us with that.
Zach, we still need somebody in front of this group. The bikes are behind. If Highway can get in front, it'd be great.
Charlie 6, guys, 7. You think you can get some highway units in front of this protest tech?
Highway goes north of Marlboro. They can come right up to Frankfurt and cut them off.
I've never seen that, sir.
Highway 1, we are on Marlboro now.
You want them stopped?
Eddie 1, my idea right now is just to keep escorting them. They might just continue out of the area on Frankfurt instead of blocking them off. I think we could do that.
You see.
Are they fighting right now or just marching?
Zach, they're just marching. Highway should be getting close to being in front of them.
They're just marching, Commissioner.
We're in front of them at Belgrade. We'll try to hold this until we get resources with us.
Great State 1 X-ray. So from the detail on one of the street, get the run models.
Top 6X, Walnut Street, passing 21st.
Emergency Georgia, be advised, 17 from 16 from Walnut. It's on bottles. It's everyone use caution.
I use caution and throwing bottles down there now. Use caution and throwing bottles.
You know, so from this location, we'll turn this around and central detectives will one mount.
That's it, 578-712.
Zach, they're taking east on Belgrade right now.
Belgrade.
Like 6 Andy.
516.
Yes, ma'am. Do we have a bike support wagon out here?
Bike support wagon.
Highway 1. Anybody there, TAC? Can you see our location? Direct us where you want us.
Zach here. So the bike units cut most of the crowd off on Frankfurt Avenue. The smaller group went down Belgrade. The bikes have control on Frankfurt right now.
C1, everything's fine. The majority of the group's still moving along on Belgrade. A lot of it's splintered off. No disturbance going on right now.
All right. We want you to raise Isaac 7 and you want us back at 500 East Road.
Except have one line go back to 500 East Road.
Frame 7 Isaac 7, we're behind you. Tom 7, the 16th of Walnut, close up Walnut, let it run north. Isaac 30, where do bikes need support? Bike 6 Andy, we're at the PAP right now, sir. All right, I'll get support wagon to you. Thank you, sir. Highway 1 line stay with the protest.
2 line and 3 line back to 500 East Girard. I don't need a response from everybody. Thank you.
Poor radio discipline, huh?
Still going westbound, approaching 23rd. You have anybody shut the
Yeah.
ramp down, 76 on the Walnut Street Bridge?
Hi, westbound 1st and 23rd, westbound and 1st and 23rd.
Isaac,
Everyone-
56 know the support personnel will be here for him shortly.
Everyone who uses walkie-talkies should
Anyone
spend a day
the crowd
on a film
completely
on a
stopped
film
at
set.
Belgrade and Frankfurt. I'm not sure what the attraction is for this location, but a lot of our stuff is Linda Wolf, and we're not going to follow her.
All right, Highway 1X, we're in the rear. We're trying to get up past everybody else in front of us.
Tom calling you, nobody here at the School Hill and Walnut.
I think they said they had people en route to the ramps up there.
Nobody here.
Tom 7, be advised, this crowd's going to be coming up to the 76 on-ramps. They're going to have access to it.
Contact X, they're going past 23rd Street. Need the ramp shut down.
I get some people up there. Street.
Isaac Street.
I had heard that there was a worry that people would cross the Ben Franklin Bridge. I don't think there's any truth to that fear.
We have a small protest moving eastbound on Girard from Crease. Can we get some bikes over here?
You said you need a bus to come over eastbound Girard at Crease.
Bikes.
Bikes, I'm sorry. Have any bike units to start over eastbound at Girard?
And the 18th of Walnut, take your post, block Walnut, let them run north.
Great, 2. Car 5.
Car 5.
Can you raise anyone and have him meet me here? I'm just north of Belgrade at Frankfurt. All right, Commissioner, I'll make my way in.
Sure, 7X, Isaac 7. You want us to stay on Frankfurt or come back around to the district?
100.
There is a black male inside a gray vehicle that's now at 66 Avenue. Street keep this 2 packages from that location. People complain it has it on video. 606 North 66.
Hey, Josh, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can cut like this one.
Hello. You're on.
So I'm at the back of the group that's going up. This is Walnut.
Let me know what the front of the march is.
Approaching the on-ramp for 76 eastbound.
I am just in front of the support group of police vehicles. It's about 15 of them. And they are supported by the police vehicles that used to be associated with crowd control at events like this.
Update on was it Walnut? About 2,000 people.
Alright, that's 2,000 on Walnut.
Tom 7 to 20th Street and Walnut. Come on up to Walnut.
A bunch of notifications and I have no idea what they are.
car 5. Could you raise Charlie 6?
Charlie 6.
Charlie 6 for car 5.
Rob.
Yeah, when this group moves, we're definitely going to have flights flanking them and in front. There's going to be fights in this neighborhood. And also have your MIRD and highway assets following the best they can.
Some of
in
the
case that does happen.
bike officers are embedded with.
Charlie 6, we got part of our package following them. We got a large group heading right back to near 26th District, where it is Jordan Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
All
Look at
right.
that.
There's subjects Charlie 6. We just left Frankfurt Avenue and moved back around to the 26th, and they were doing their best to block us in the streets. So just going to keep some bikes near the highway path here to clear them.
Eddie 1, I got that. I'm going around in these car pockets.
Highway 1, we're back in the district. 26th District.
So I don't know how far down the street you can see, but the crowd is currently all the way across Chestnut Street Bridge, or Walnut Street Bridge.
Tom 100. This new rally's going to be ending. They're going to be aiming for 30th Street. So we have some bikes out there ahead of them.
I got one bike to you on 30th Street now.
Hey James, just so you know, the live stream on YouTube is just showing your shoulder. If there's any way we can get the live broadcast on the YouTube.
The live stream on YouTube is showing what?
It's just it's basically your wall and your shoulder.
Not my shoulder, that's my chair.
Oh, yeah, it's still stuck on the other. Yeah, you're spotlighted.
Should have switched it for that view.
You want me to try and switch it back and forth?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Anyone with this protest in the neighborhood, Frankfurt and Belgrade?
Negative, Commissioner.
Also, there's like a 30-second delay on the YouTube, so it might be that.
Okay.
No.
Oh. Okay.
It's been like that for a few minutes now.
Oh, gotcha.
Back into Raleigh, Montgomery.
Alright, the front's back into Raleigh, Montgomery. Front's back into Raleigh,
Did
Montgomery.
the YouTube switch, Chris?
Charlie to the protest marshal.
Not as of yet.
22nd Street.
That's here to lead on Walnut Street is passing 30th. They're continuing west.
Alright, the lead passing 30th.
See if I can solve the technical glitch
continue west.
from here. I don't think I can, but because I think my computer is still the host.
Vehicles up ahead of them around 30th Street. Just establish positions, please.
Toxic active, kind of call through, let them know they're coming through the campus.
Police, we're monitoring.
X14 next to Tom 7.
We have helicopter footage again. I'm looking at it right now on channel 7, trying to figure out where it's at. It looks like North Philly somewhere, possibly Frankfurt or Girard. I'm not certain because the view is very, very zoomed out. About 2.5, 3 dozen police vehicles, a huge line of bike cops, and a small group of people. The people in the group are currently sitting down on the ground. Looks like some people are drawing with chalk on the ground. Somebody's currently drawing a peace sign. And it says no justice above it.
Was I able to fix the technical glitch? If you look at the YouTube.
Might want to just let state police know that we're in the area.
Now,
just in case somebody decides to turn. Maybe they can be prepared down there on the highway.
Your avatar.
It's just some.
Okay.
It's
so
somehow linked to that.
From here.
Yeah.
ERT3, can you
Yeah,
make sure
I must have pinned it before I left.
is that rammed to 76 block?
That's unfortunate.
I'll try and do my best to
think there's
describe
anybody else
what I'm
they've done what they
watching
can.
for anybody listening in.
Another thing that you could do you have multiple monitors attached to the device that you're using?
I do not. I'm working between a phone and a computer screen right now.
All right.
76 at Walnut Street.
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and head up here and record some stuff.
All ramps for 76 and 676 going westbound.
And then I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
the
see
only
what
way
we
I
can
can
figure
fix
out
it
on
is
our end.
yeah. The only way I can fix it really is to head home.
On 676, 76, on down
I don't have a way of taking the
station. I also have a vehicle on the off ramp.
I'm wondering if I can
76,
share
westbound
screen and
at
just use
7.
my screen instead. Let me see.
All right. Just keep me
If
updated
that'll
as you
take
try to
over
reach that.
Yeah, if that'll take over the
Let me
pin.
get 22nd
I
Walnut
don't
back
think
up to the
so.
post.
I think that
Just
puts
block off
the
Walnut
shared
Street,
screen
let them
on
run
the
north.
second monitor.
Down
Copy.
Broad Street up to 20th Street. Northbound from Broad Street to 20th Street and block north at Walnut Street Road.
Is there any way you can log into Zoom from your phone and remove the pin?
When this march,
or if you give me that info, I can do it.
It goes in.
No, because I don't think it'll kick me
There's something happening on the helicopter feed right now. There's a black man hugging a police officer. There seems to be a lot of like jubilation and excitement from the crowd. There seems to be a really, really positive interaction. There's a lot of people clapping. I'm assuming cheering. Really, from what I'm observing from the helicopter feed, a really, really positive interaction between the protesters and police, despite the police having a bicycle barricade set up at the moment.
Greg, you can tell me who like support and what.
Still no exact word on the specific location.
Support was supposed to be at the PAB.
I think that's the Gerard group that you're looking at.
Yeah, it would be the Gerard group, definitely. It's definitely North Philly.
All right, I'm gonna head back to the house thing because I can't fix this from here. Stupid technical mistake on my part, not giving one of you guys host. Which is what I should have done.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been unable to get Zoom to work in a good way on the computer I'm using, so I'm kind of zooming from my phone right now, which makes things a little difficult.
It's not so bad. Like, you have all the same controls on the phone. That's how I could control it if I was the only one doing it. That's why I set it up through Zoom. But it's the main problem is I just forgot to transfer the hosting duties onto a different person. So
yeah, I would recommend transferring the host to Shoshana, or I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, I got lucky then.
Yeah, no. I gave Shoshana co-host and tested that it worked. I just don't know why it's not working now.
Yeah, I'm not. It's something with the connection of the Zoom to the YouTube.
Yeah. So what? Just to give anybody viewing or listening an update right now as to what's going on with the Gerard group via the helicopter feed. Right now, the protest group is on their knee. I'm assuming they're doing, the 10 minutes on their knee or 9 minutes, whatever it is. There appears to be no aggression or kind of, conflict happening right now between police and protesters. There are people on the rooftops surrounding that are looking down, observing. Overall, pretty positive scene right now from what I'm observing.
Your curfew starts in an hour?
30 minutes, actually. 30 minutes is our...
At 8, okay.
I believe, unless it's 8:30. I haven't actually seen a curfew update, although I'm sure I will receive a text message. Usually, we've been receiving the text messages somewhere around 15 or 20 minutes before curfew is enacted. Just continuing to update on the live feed I'm watching from the helicopter. There appear to be 2 white shirts on scene at this event, and for anybody who doesn't know, white shirts are their commanding officers for the Philadelphia Police Department. It obviously is referring to the color of their uniform shirt. There appears to be no amount of confrontation, no amount of aggression on either side, and the situation's remaining stable for the time being.
On that crossing 30th.
Good.
Yeah, that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
That's really what we want to see.
Yeah. That's all we want.
You know, like this whole protest, all of these actions are about police aggression, you know, and the repercussions thereof. And the thing that's been like really disconcerting for me is watching police basically do what we are protesting against to us as actors on the ground, and I'm not seeing that in this particular scene, and that's encouraging. You know, maybe there have been some lessons that have been learned over the course of the past.
42, keep me advised of that.
Although the night is still young, we really have to see how this plays out. The crowd appears to be erupting in some kind of applause or cheer. People are raising their fists.
Westbound on Walnut Central was notified. Yes.
I'm sorry for anybody viewing this right now that you're not getting
Just
live.
getting the
I'll post in the YouTube the link to the live feed that I'm currently watching. For anybody following us on YouTube right now, the link is in there. You can click on that and follow it yourself until we get our technical issues sorted out.
That's a real good idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know that we're also cross-streaming, I believe, on Twitch and Periscope. Unfortunately, I'm not on either of those platforms, so I can't share with any of you guys that. And I don't really know a good way to link you guys up with that.
We're advised. We're aware of what's going on down Walnut Street.
But I think James will be back pretty soon, and
yeah, hopefully he'll be back home and can get us sorted out from the broadcast side of things, so that we can share with you guys what we're watching.
Going on, sir, 5105 Frankfurt Avenue.
Shoshana, I'll put in the chat real quick what I'm watching on the live.
Oh, great! I'll bring that up and check it out too. I'm watching live feeds from Los Angeles. So far, it seems like the same situation in Philadelphia. Everything looks pretty peaceful. Police are kind of letting people do their thing. Yeah.
15 District.
Which is really good.
Hospital case 5105 Frankfurt Avenue. Two officers came up to a male down looking for a black.
So there's a link in the chat right now, Shoshana, for the 6ABC helicopter that's broadcasting the Gerard group. If you want to open that up so you can see it as well.
Frankfurt Avenue, down inside the house. Looking for a black male, 6'2", bald head.
Did we try what happens if you share your screen? That didn't take over the YouTube feed.
I tried that. It
the spotlight wouldn't.
Yeah, I think the pin overrides everything else, unfortunately.
All good.
Sorry to anybody following right now. If you're just looking at an avatar, we're working on sorting that out as we speak.
We'll try and give you descriptions as much as possible.
I'm gonna check some of the other local news sources to see if there are any other live feeds that I can update our followers on.
Cool.
Charlie 2 here, Charlie 2.
For anyone that's not already aware, the Ben Franklin Bridge is currently closed. I'm sure most people probably are, but if for some reason you are not, that is the situation.
Tack arrow. You have any location on this Walnut Street?
Yeah, so they just crossed over 36, coming up to 37, sir.
All right, thank you.
I think 18 with Team 4, we're going to parallel up to about 30 seconds.
Charlie 2 to radio. You want to give Southwest an update that this march, their location, approximate size. Tack Air can give me that again. I'm not sure how many people broke off.
I think you're down to 1,000, sir.
That's not me, is it?
All right, thank you.
Is this spread throughout the
Apologies for that. If that sounds true. I'm monitoring a couple different feeds, so.
Yeah, please bear with us, guys. We're trying to spread and cast our net kind of wide here and keep track of everything that's going on. So, if we miss something or if there's any confusion, that's why we're trying to cover a lot of ground with not a lot of resources.
Is that what he's telling you is an assault weapon?
I'm gonna keep that police scanner on though. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep that active. That way, if anything, anything pops up on there, we're aware.
The description on the male with the assault rifle is going to be a male with a red shirt, black basketball shorts with yellow on the side, and a blue hoodie underneath the red shirt. He's got a black assault rifle. I just received that information from someone from the neighborhood.
Okay,
I'm going to assume that that's a white male since they didn't specify that that's a black male.
With like a blue hoodie sticking out from underneath it. A black basketball shorts with yellow on the side. He's got a black hat on and a red shirt. Black assault rifle.
I don't know the location of what we just heard.
From Downmaster towards Hancock. They lost him in that area.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, Master and Hancock is in South Philly.
Correct.
It is no white, black, Spanish?
White male.
Oh, what do you know?
You were correct.
Okay. Location?
Jefferson around Hancock, 100 Jefferson, white male, red shirt over a blue hoodie, black shorts, yellow stripes, black hat, has a black assault rifle.
Received.
I'm wondering because in Philadelphia, first off, in Philadelphia, open carry is not legal.
I was going to ask about that. I didn't
Philadelphia is not an open carry city, and Pennsylvania, as far as I know, is not an open carry state.
We still have the same numbers.
And that was another sort of
1,500 to 2,000 earlier when they started walking past 30th Street.
Received.
Sorry, I just wanted to let the
We have to go back to Echoes refuel with 5 minutes left on fuel.
Police scanner.
Quite ERT1, we're at 38 Chestnut, we're close to getting around.
Looks like on this chopper footage for the Fishtown protest, everybody is sitting down.
Yeah, sitting or kneeling.
And it looks like
the police are surrounded right now, interestingly enough. They have a line facing the larger group, and then a few officers facing the smaller group behind them. There's a few feet of space in between, a couple of people milling around, it looks like on their phones, possibly broadcasting or just recording.
And these look like bicycle policemen. They're not in riot gear, they don't have shields.
Yeah, so for
Yeah.
general crowd control, I'm not just to update you specifically on Philadelphia police tactics. We generally, or our city generally uses bicycle police to establish these kind of lines.
Yeah, did
They
Cloudfire
use
get
the
that
bicycles as a
information
physical
about the
barrier,
gentleman
and in
with the
some
long
cases
gun?
as a weapon.
He's close. He's not that far from him.
I vastly prefer that to riot gear.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
27.
there. It is a
He's on the
step
phone right now.
forward from the whole shield
Check
and
it out.
baton, or even in some cases,
Appreciate
quote
you.
unquote, less than lethal firearms.
Just
You
like
know, but that is pretty standard police practice and tactics when dealing with crowd control. Just looking right now, it looks like there's a member of the protests talking with a white shirt. Again, a commanding officer. The white shirt has his arm on his shoulder. They're talking about something. Obviously, I don't know what. They seem to be talking pretty, you know, they're discussing something. It looks like the guy in the hoodie, the African American man with the hoodie, is turning around to possibly address the rest of the group after speaking with the officer.
Yeah.
He said something, and now there's a round of applause from the group at large. They took a knee. Some police officers are taking a knee in solidarity. I see about a half dozen police taking a knee, with a few members of the protest behind them with their arms on their shoulders. This is honestly one of the most positive interactions I've seen between police and protesters. Right now, there's a protester hugging a police officer, hugging another police officer. You know, maybe both sides have learned something from this weekend's events. You know, like that's, I guess, the hope here. You know, I don't think anybody wants to see violence or wants to see destruction. You know, I feel like the thing that everybody kind of wants is just to be heard, and this is maybe an example of that, albeit a small one. You know, small steps.
So Philadelphia just got a new sheriff or new chief of police?
They just got a new chief of police. I believe she was
and she was voted in, right, for like the first time.
Yeah, this is the first major sort of protest and political or direct action that she's been responsible for directing the response to, and it hasn't gone well.
So she's
by all accounts, including her own.
The position in Philadelphia
is. There are
is
some growing pains there. I don't want to immediately cast somebody off, but you know, things have not been handled as well as they could. What I'm seeing right now on the live feed, though, is encouraging. Although I would really stress that it's very early on in today's demonstrations, and we'll have to see how things kind of play out as the night progresses. If this type of communal attitude between police and protesters, and if this type of, you know, understanding and tolerance of each other continues.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey.
Sorry.
Welcome back.
No, hello, welcome back.
So I've fixed the feed there.
Great.
And yeah, it was the problem that I said it was, which was I had forgotten to unpin the video from the first screen. So yeah, the
that officer that has the picture of the gentleman with the long guy.
The
call EOC 1112 61112.
The position, the highest police position here in Philadelphia is called commissioner, and Commissioner Outlaw was hired. It's a hired position, not a voted position, and she was hired from under Portland, Oregon. She was chief of the Portland, Oregon police. Interestingly, during her tenure there, Several
appear to be hostile to the group or has similar members to the group.
Sorry, I'm listening to the scanner as well. Several protests happened during her tenure there, and the problem was that her tactics as a chief for crowd control were on full display yesterday. The tactics that they're using today more closely resemble tactics that the Philadelphia police have developed over the last 2 decades or so. They have very specific tactics for dealing with protests and marches. They tend to have, I don't know if you can see it on this video, if you see any white shirts, any ranking police officers with an orange armband. The white shirts with the orange armband are part of, and I did see one earlier today. They are part of a particular group within the police that's specifically dedicated towards crowd control and de-escalation. They're responsible for talking with the public at events like this. And they've been very, very, very successful over the last, I'd say 10 years they've been in full effect. Definitely since the street administration, the middle of the street administration, I would guess. They weren't super successful under street because he and the commissioner at the time kind of held them back. They didn't give them command over the police on the ground, and didn't let them dictate what the police were equipped with when going out in response. But the next administration did give them that ability, and the next police commissioner did give them that ability. And so that's why I think you see a de-escalation overall today. You'll notice that none of the bike cops have face shields. All of the regular foot patrol police officers that you've seen haven't had face shields either. It's
incredible the difference it makes.
Yeah. It's just a humanizing thing. There's a lot of research that went into those tactics, and a ton of research that went into making sure that de-escalation works. And it does. It does universally. Yeah. It's insane that they weren't using it yesterday. I don't know what the disconnect was.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I could comment on that, I would say, so on Saturday, which is the first day of the demonstrations in Philadelphia, I was out on the street as early as a little bit before noon while I was, traveling with my group to the protest at City Hall. And before anything had even transpired, at about, I'm trying to remember exactly the location. Oh, you know what? It was on Vine Street. It was on Vine Street, just west of Broad. They had, a couple dozen police vehicles parked, police in full riot gear, already ready to go. I'm sure state police in the area in similar riot gear. So, like, the story here is, like, they came out expecting a fight and expecting confrontation, and that's what they got. They essentially got what they asked for with it, and it's not surprising that that's how things turned out when that was sort of what was presented to the people who genuinely did come out to peacefully protest for hours. As I was out, like I said, I was there from the very beginnings of the Center City demonstration. We walked down the Parkway to the Art Museum and walked back. And it wasn't until I started seeing until the group grew and they started deploying more crowd control and riot gear type police units that the restlessness among the crowd grew. There was this presentation of a show of force, and I think that there was a response to that amongst the group. That's what helped instigate some of the lawlessness and vandalism and destruction of property and
well, to speak to all of that, to speak to all of that, some of the psychology behind the de-escalation techniques for large groups includes the fact that if you equip officers with riot gear equipment, like say you give them pads and you give them helmets and you give them face shields and you give them batons, a normal human reaction is to use what you're given. And so you have your pads, you're going to use them, you're going to feel more comfortable with hitting somebody. It's the same thing in American rules football. You're going to feel more comfortable hitting somebody. The game is going to be faster because a very normal human reaction is not only to fear injuring someone else, but to realize that you will be equally as injured by that action. So
yeah, that's like an inherent human thing. Like you can't. That's instinct.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could piggyback off of what you're saying for a moment, like you bring up a very valid point about American football and how aggressive and fast-paced and physical the game is. If you compare that to, say, rugby, in rugby, you have no pads and it's a very, very physical game, but the number of injuries and the severity of injuries tends to be much less because you're not equipping people in a way where they feel like they're not only at liberty to do whatever they want to somebody else, but they're also protected. And I think you touched on something really, really like very, very important there is when you give people equipment, they're going to use it.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and that's part of the psychology of de-escalation is putting the police less in the mindset of applying force. And then the other part of it is, yes, de-escalation works in crowd control situations because when you have humanized faces across you from a line, so if you have a guy in a bike helmet with shorts on and a short sleeve shirt, yeah, he might have a bulletproof vest on, but it's underneath of his uniform shirt, and so he just looks like a regular guy. He doesn't have a face shield obscuring his face, and even though the face shields we modernly use are clear, they still obscure a person's face and make them a little bit less human to people.
I mean, it's a literal barrier.
Right.
Between, yeah.
So, when a crowd encounters these dehumanized faces and these dehumanized law enforcement officers, they're more likely to visit anger on those people and feel like they're not heard. Whereas when a crowd faces a row of bike cops, they don't. I've never seen a crowd try and charge a row of bike cops or throw a bunch of junk at a row of bike cops. I mean, I'll take that back. I've seen bike cops get stuff thrown at them, but that's just like, a sandwich or something. But there's more of a human connection, and just as we saw earlier on this helicopter feed, even when bike cops get surrounded, protesters are more likely to create a lane for them to exit the situation and realize and see in the faces of the bike cops that they feel like they're in danger. Shush, I don't know what's going on in LA. Like I've seen a lot of riot gear cops, but I don't know if that's like the day to day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like we have very different tactics here, apparently. Yeah. No, they're all geared out in all of the riot gear. I'm trying to find we just lost all of all of the live feeds I had just switched off. So I don't know what that means. But right now, all of the live feeds I have they're not doing live feeds. They're just replaying stuff, or they're showing it in different locations. So I'm trying to get the one in Hollywood.
Let me see if I can find a Periscope feed.
Does anybody know where the location we're looking at for 680C right now? The Chopper 6s. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they just had it up.
No, good question.
They had an overlay up. It's like I saw Orange Street and something else. It's northeast.
Yeah.
Fish County.
Yeah, there's a cemetery, so that indicates that it's the northeast. There's a ton of those there.
Now you're past your curfew now, yeah?
No, it's 8 o'clock. It's 7:56 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4 minutes till curfew. Curfew's 8 p.m. or 8:30, James. You know?
I'm looking that up right now. 8:30 p.m.
8:30. Okay.
To 6 a.m. So yeah, and I got a notification that picture of cops. Apparently, fact checkers have determined that picture of cops taking bricks out of their truck is actually them cleaning bricks up from the roadway, or from the sidewalk.
Gotcha.
Well, assuming that's true, that's a much better thing to hear than that they're deploying or planting them, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I want to know how those bricks got there, to be honest. Like, bricks don't just grow on trees, as it were.
I guess they could just magically appear.
Anything's possible.
So yeah, according to the fact check, the bricks were on the ground. They were part of a sidewalk that was broken, and for some reason, the cops were assigned to clean up the sidewalk that was broken.
Yeah, I'm not really getting any more news live updates from Los Angeles right now.
Oh, that's why I was having trouble finding it.
Yeah.
What are you looking on?
I'm looking on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
And just like general searching. The last couple days, I've had someone I know in there, so I just.
There's a live on Periscope.
I feel like I'm in Iraq.
Oh, okay.
Go to periscope.tv and search Los Angeles.
Awesome, thank you.
I'll bring that up on this computer.
Totally unrelated, but whatever that awning is, skull on it.
Curfew should help. Yeah,
freaking cool.
Sorry?
Just on the live feed, there was an awning that had like a skull with maybe wings under it or something. I was just like, that's pretty cool. Like I said, unrelated to the actual topic. It was neat.
I really do love looking at roofs.
A friend of mine once said Philadelphia is a city of rooftops, and I think what he meant by that was that I feel like Philadelphia is a city where people hang out on rooftops quite often. There's a lot of roof decks or just roof access. I feel like I've seen Philadelphia from the perspective of a rooftop from just about any angle relative to, you know, Center City. And I felt that was like a poetic description of the city.